Good afternoon and welcome to our special council meeting for August 18th, 2025. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territories and the oral practices of the Blackfoot Nation, which include the Siksika, the Kainai, and the Piikani. We also acknowledge the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, the Métis Nation District 4, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta. We're making this acknowledgement to demonstrate our continuing efforts to work together as we strive for reconciliation through increased and collective learning. First of all, on the agenda, the park lift station upgrades, moved by Councillor Jessica, that council award the project to Simpson Industrial Services Limited at a cost of $431,300, and that the additional funding of $64,300 required to cover the cost of the complete project, including the engineering, be taken from the required sanitary sewer reserve. Don, you're up.
Through the chair to mayor and council. The City of Brooks 2018 wastewater infrastructure master plan identified several issues with the wet well in the Parkland lift station. The City of Brooks contracted MP Engineering to provide engineering services, drawings, and tender the project. Scope of work includes bypass pumping, relining the wet well, replacing 2 of the pumps, and putting a new meter on it. MP proposed a proposal for quotations for the completion of the scope of the project. The proposal was advertised on Alberta Purchasing Connection and bids and tenders, public sites from July 14th to July 30th. MP received 4 proposals. MP is recommending awarding the project to Simpson Industrial Services Limited for the quoted amount of $431,300. The proposed bid of $431,300 for all required services plus engineering of $38,000 totals $469,300 and is greater than the approved budget of $405,000. This program is to be funded from the sanitary sewer reserve. This project aligns with strategic focused area of infrastructure upgrades. So therefore, staff recommends awarding the project to Simpson Industrial Services Limited at a cost of $431,300 and that the additional funding of $64,300 required to cover the cost of the complete project, including engineering, be taken from the required sanitary sewer reserve.
Okay, any questions? No questions, then we'll go to the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, number 2 on the agenda, number 3 on the agenda, the adoption of the Intermunicipal Affairs Committee Terms of Reference, moved by Councillor Goodenough that Council approve the updated terms of reference for the Intermunicipal Affairs Committee as presented to take effect following the 2025 municipal elections. Interim CEO, Doug Lagore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to you and council, this is the result of the CAOs working together. We brought draft terms of reference to council before, which they adopted in principle. The terms of reference that are before you will replace, in this committee, will replace the Joint Services Committee. It is going to provide the opportunity for all council members to attend the meetings, of which 2 will be appointed to the committee to have voting rights. And the meeting will not be open to the public. It will be open only to those that are requested and invited to attend the meeting. With that, I'm prepared to answer any questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Wardrop? And it's not a mic problem you're having. Councillor Wardrop has a little throat problems this afternoon.
My first question is about the media. Is there a reason why it's ideal to not have, or to have it a closed meeting? I believe joint services was open before. Sorry.
To you, Mr. Mayor, I believe the question about the media attending. And yes, it was discussed and it was determined to provide the opportunity for councils to have more open discussion without the media in attendance. And that is why that's being recommended. And They will be prepared to respond to the media after the meeting if there is any questions.
This would be similar to the one we always have at Christmas with all the different counselors there, and that's always been closed to the public and to the media too. And this committee, of course, meets, I believe it's going to be 4 times a year on that. There are 2, yeah. Or 3 times a year, yeah, 3 times a year, yeah. I was thinking quarterly, but yeah. Counselor Idris, yeah.
I'm actually struggling with this committee to understand why are we doing this, and if we are doing it to engage all council, is this the right way when we are going to limit to 2 votes again? So and I don't know if there will be a specific question, but in general, like I see this really as that December meeting that we used to have. Okay, for that meeting, it's invited. All council are invited. We bring things for discussion. There is no really voting or things like that. But now we are suggesting some voting here. If we are going to have these 2 people have voting rights, are we going to discuss things before that meeting and tell these 2 people how to vote, or are they going to vote their conscience at the meeting? If they are going to do that, why are we having the rest of, like, if I'm there, sitting there to talk against something that we are going to vote on, and then if the person who has that voting right has a different idea, what does that look like? It says quorum. Quorum is 1 elected official. Why is then quorum 1 elected official? So 4 people, like 1 from Bassano, 1 from Dutchess, 1 from Brooks, 1 from Newell, could have this meeting without the rest of. I'm not saying they will, but that is what the terms of reference is saying. It's the quorum is just 1 person from each council. And then I look at the things we vote on, and yes, there is that idea of the market, the plan. We approve the BNRED plan, but what does referral to individual municipal council or regional services organization for further consideration? Because some of these regional cooperative organizations have their own boards and they do their own thing. If we are talking about the water in the other garbage and all of that. So what are we trying to do here? That is like, and then when I go and I know these 2 are connected, when I go and read the other one, I think about what are we trying to do with these 2. I don't get it.
Okay.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I can't address your first question about the terms of reference, why they were being reviewed. That was a direction from the Joint Services Committee prior to my time, that they review these terms of reference. But there is very little that will come before this committee that will require a vote. And anything that's a vote is really to refer it back to the individual municipal councils. So whoever's there would be voting based on their conscience, because it's naturally going to come back to the council, even if they don't agree to refer it, because the minutes will come back. So there's still the opportunity for the council to review that matter. It's just really an opportunity to have more participation from all of council. And in talking to all 5 municipalities, including ourselves, all the CEOs felt that this was a better way of doing it and making it more open. And rather than having all the other partners at that meeting, and I've only attended 3, I think it is, Joint Services Committee since I came here, there's a lot of people there presenting stuff that is not really relevant. Well, it's good information. It's not really relevant to all the 3 councils, and that's what they're trying to do, is focus this in. Thank you.
And just another part of that too, just about the delegations. I think with all the councilors there, if there's a delegation, they don't have to go to the Bazzano Council, the Rosemary Council, the Dutchess Council, the Brooks Council, the Newell Council. They can just, because all the councilors will be there. Let's say it's the joint, some delegation, whatever, whether it be STARS or something like that. That's, I think. And the other part of this equation here is, I think, to streamline economic development, which is our next discussion on that. And I agree with you with the vote there, and I agree with interim CEO Lagore there too. I don't know if there'd be anything binding that would come out of that. Like if the vote went one way, it would still have to come back to our council or the Newell Council or Dutchess Council to decide on something on that there too. So,
And-
and the reason I think they do the two is just to make sure, because you have to realize the county of Newell has 9 councilors, we have 7, and Dutchess has 5, Rosemary's 3 to even it out. That's what I'm thinking on that there.
Yeah.
Councilor Idris.
So my suggestion in this situation becomes to really make this committee as informal as possible. And this terms of reference doesn't need to be this complicated. It's just basically repeating the December meeting 3 times.
Right.
So for that reason, we will not need to be this prescriptive in terms of the composition, in terms of the voting, in terms of
Yeah, the only thing is, if there is something that, let's say there's something that we want to do jointly as the Brooks Newell region, we can vote on it there and then bring it back to the councils, whereas the December meeting, we don't bring any ideas really. We take ideas there, but nothing ever comes back. From those meetings. Or maybe I can't say that all the time. Sometimes it has. But, yeah. Anyway, go ahead, Councillor Woodruff. Yeah.
So, yeah, are we trying to, is this supposed to replace the December meeting, or, because if that's the case, then, yeah, like the quorum requirements, there's maybe some things that could be tweaked. But if there's, if economic development stuff is going to be a little bit more formalized and brought back to individual councils to vote, maybe, maybe we just don't need to vote on, we don't need to have anything that we'll actually vote on in this one. Like, it seems,
You're saying don't have any requirements to vote or no voting at this meeting then? And
well,
just
there was the one thing that it said that the Brooks Newell Regional Economic Development Plan, work plan, right, would be the one thing to be voted on. And I think that should come back to councils anyway. Councils can approve it. Like if this committee, the Joint Services Committee or Joint whatever committee, be more information sharing, discussion, kind of hashing out some stuff. You take that back to our individual municipalities and then vote on any action items. I don't know, because if there are only 2 members who have a vote, and there's only 1 that is required, yeah, I don't know if that's maybe fully reflective of an entire municipal council too, So.
Councillor Jessica.
Thank you. Well, I like this. It was generated with unanimity by the CAOs of all the municipalities who we depend on to generate documents like this, and it's an opportunity to go from the one meeting once a year, which is pretty well just a social event, into something that gives us a chance to collaborate and communicate openly. And I think that's never a bad idea. Now, the nuts and bolts of it, it looks to me like what they've done is they've got everything here. They're trying to cover all the situations that may arise, and they may never never be needed, but it's better to have them and not need them than to need them and not have them. But I don't see anything here that threatens operations or democracy or that. And I think, Councillor Idris, if I understood correctly, were you thinking that it was 4 for a quorum or 5?
Just like we don't have a quorum for the December meeting, so we just find a date that works for everyone and try to make it happen. So like I'm not suggesting a quorum.
But
And by the way, don't get me wrong. I like the idea of all council meeting quarterly or 3 times. Like I like the idea, but I think the way these terms of reference are written is like even in the idea of agenda, and it looks like there will be potential of some agenda being refused, and so I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the quorum is one representative from each community. And I don't think you'd want to see this committee operating, talking about some issue that's going to affect all 5 communities if one of the 5 is not represented. And that's really why we decided that you should have at least one person there from each community to have quorum.
And from what I think right now, these are all going back to the individual councils for approval, right?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct.
Yeah.
The county has approved it so far, and the other 3 are dealing with it, 2 of them this week, and 1 in early September, I believe, the latest time emailed.
Yeah, from what I understand, I think we wanted to kind of get it done before the next joint services meeting on September 9th, or get approval, or...
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that's correct. We want to get it approved before the new council comes in. Otherwise, we'll be back to square one. And even to suggest amendments to this now, I doubt that we'll get it back before councils before the election.
Okay, yeah, okay, Councillor Wardrop.
Yeah, I guess if we're gonna have it one way, like if it's, I would prefer to see it either like a more informal thing, and then to me that justifies then close to the media. But if there's any votes going on, then I would say that the media could probably be in attendance. So it's like, and maybe that's the confusion for me is what kind of meeting are we having? A more formal, we're voting, we're bringing this back to our councils, or are we collaborating, are we sharing information, ideas amongst ourselves? From what I think, that's the intention. So my suggestion would be, if we're going to keep it that way, to kind of, it could be closed to the media, but then there are no binding votes. And if there's any action items, we can bring those back to our respective councils and then
Yeah,
vote
just
from there.
in defense of the media, like if there's anything that's general that comes out of that would come back to our council. Our councils are always open to the media too, so they could ask questions then. So it's not like anything would be hidden from anybody there. So
It's not even about like being hidden. It's I'm not suggesting that we'd be trying to hide anything from the media, but just it would be just I'm at a loss for words.
yeah, okay, Councillor Goodenough.
I'm imagining, interim CEO, that these are not technically binding votes, though. More of a recommendation
Yeah.
to go back to council. Is
Yeah.
that my understanding? Okay, so I think that kind of helps.
Go ahead, Councillor.
So, sorry.
Yeah,
I wanted to talk about cost sharing for a second. I'm just kind of curious on that. First point.
Is that? I think that's in the next one,
No.
though. Oh, it's in
Yeah,
this one here, too?
Intermunicipal Affairs Committee. The cost sharing, it's not a big deal, but it's an interesting. Council orientation, training costs, including meetings, facilities, services, shall be cost shared 50-50 between the county and the City of Brooks.
Okay, oh, that one. Okay.
So we're inviting Bazzano, Dutchess, Rolling Hill, or not Rolling, sorry, Duchess Bazzano Rosemary to be a part of this as a token, like it's kind of free to them, yet they have, that makes up a fairly good-sized council. I'm just curious on your thoughts.
Right now in joint services, they don't contribute anyway, but with the next motion there, they will have to contribute something on the next one that comes up if we pass that one. Yeah, two different things, whatever, but yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead,
All right.
Interim CEO Legore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the only time you're going to have cost sharing for orientation is when you bring in an outside resource, such as George Cuff. If you expect your three partners to share in that, they can't afford it. That's the basis of it. Now, this was one that I pushed for, because to me, there's not a better demonstration of regional cooperation than the city and the county funding orientation training for the 5 municipalities. And I discussed this idea with George Cuff when we engaged him to do the orientation, and he said that is the best he has ever heard of taking a regional approach to orientation, is inviting your smaller partners who can't afford to participate, inviting them in at no cost. It's a clear demonstration that you advocate for regional collaboration amongst all the municipalities.
I want just, I appreciate that, so thank you for your comments. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Idris, and then I think I'll call the question, because if the question loses whatever, then we have to go back, whatever.
Actually, I appreciate the cost sharing, the 50-50 cost sharing. It's a very good idea, and I like it.
Yeah.
My question, I had a question about cost, but I was going to ask it. I'm going to ask it now. Is the second bullet? So is this prorated now going to be based on people attending, or based on number of council members? Because now we are going to go into more administrative work around, are we charging people whether they come or not come?
Go ahead, expand it a little bit on what you're saying.
The second bullet, it says for hosting, and like when we were doing the municipal before
Yeah.
that December meeting, one municipality takes a share every time.
Right, yeah.
Now
They took turns.
Now we are saying we are going to charge each municipality prorated cost based on the number of council members. So are we going to charge them based on council members who attend, or council members in general?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it'll be a charge for council members that attend. And there may, and I want to emphasize, may be one meeting a year where there is a meal. The others, there will be no meal. It's no different than our joint services, where the meeting is held and
Yeah.
there's no cost to it.
Okay. Councilor Wardrop?
So for clarification, on these new terms, would the Regional Economic Development Plan be voted on at this by the delegates?
Say that one more time.
So under the, sorry, under duties and responsibilities, it says that this committee would oversee updates to the new economic development plan. The work plan, would that be then a vote? That would be a vote for the delegates of the committee there? Or would that, just for clarification, would that be voted on there, or would that have to go back to councils to vote?
Interim CEO
Does any of my other
Yeah,
counselors know what I'm trying to ask and could ask?
Yeah.
Will it be voted on there? Or will it be discussed and then a recommendation going back to council? Because
I think it would come back to council, because I think what we're trying to do here is the economic development would be separate
oh no,
from.
sorry,
from
actually I
this.
just see it right there. It says voting authority, approval and endorsement of the BNRED work plan. So I would like to see that actually not happen at the committee, but go back to our respective councils first. And
Where do you see that? Just give me the number there.
number 3, under voting authority. So I would like to see that change to approval and endorsement not happening at this committee, but going back to our municipalities, and then we endorse it from there.
Oh, and, okay, you're, okay, the committee may only vote on matters relating to the coordination of regional initiatives. That's what you're talking about, right? Right? Okay. Referrals to individual municipal councils or regional service organizations for further considerations. Approval and endorsement of the Brooks Newell Regional Economic Development Work Plan. So that's what they, okay. The committee may only vote on matters relating to the coordination of regional initiatives, including, right, those two. It doesn't have to be those two.
No, it doesn't, but it could be, and I would like to see that come back to a full council, like, and each municipality endorse it from there.
Council, good enough? Go ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? Because, like I say, we're under a time constraint here too. I don't know if we have a chance to take it back to the CEOs there, but I'll see if most of the councilors are happy with that, and then we'll go with it. If it's lost, and then we'll send it back. Whatever. Okay, Councilor Wardrobe. Yeah, go one more time. Yeah.
Well, why do we not have time, Mr. Mayor?
We have to. Well, take it back to joint services September 9th. Councilor Goodenough.
So if we approve it today, it can be reworked at joint services, that point that Councillor Wardrop is bringing up?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
As
a question?
Yeah, interim CEO
No?
Lagore. Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, yes, you can discuss it at joint services. From there, it'll have to go back to the CAO and then come back to the council subsequent to that. So it's unlikely it will get back before the election.
Okay.
To me, if I could just add, Mr. Mayor, there's nothing here detrimental to the city. What this agreement does, it basically is a terms of reference for the 5 municipalities to get together and discuss issues of common concern openly with all of them, and then it has to come back to the individual councils if there's a vote required for anything. There can be no expenditures without the approval of each individual council. It's a very loose terms of reference, really.
Councilor Wardrobe.
Just to make it less complicated, could we just take out, like, wouldn't just taking out the delegations from the Joint Services Committee and then closing the meeting to the public, would that not basically accomplish the goals? Right, like taking out those delegations and then just closing the meeting to the public.
Yeah, I
Just
think,
make
and I
it
go
less
back, I think
complicated.
what they wanted to do is sort of split up joint services from joint services and then have the economic development one there. Otherwise, I think what you're saying is don't pass this, take it back, revamp the whole thing, and obviously nothing will get done now until November then, the way it goes. Yeah, I can, you know what, Councilor Woodruff, I'll call the question, we'll see how it goes, whatever, then we'll move forward on it there yeah, so, okay. So, to the motion, all those in favor? Bill? Okay, 5-2, okay, carried. Okay, number 4 on the agenda, the Brooks Newell Regional Economic Development Services Agreement, moved by Councillor Idris that Council approve the Brooks Newell Regional Economic Development Services Agreement as presented and direct administration to proceed with finalization and execution in collaboration with the partner municipalities, with the agreement taking place effective January 1st, 2026. Interim CEO Lagore.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the main change to the terms of reference that are before you now is that the 3 other communities will now contribute. They basically have been getting a free ride to this point, if you want to call it that. They have not had any financial contribution. And now, under this formula here, they will contribute 2% of their LGFF operating funds. And the city and county will contribute 2% of their LGFF funds, plus the $180,000 that we've been putting in on an annual basis to date. That's really the changes, is what is going on with this agreement here that's before you tonight. Thank you.
And I'm right in saying this one will deal more with economic development, right? Throughout the region.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, that is correct. It is strictly economic development.
Okay. Okay, any questions? Councillor Woodruff.
Is the composition of the committee the same? 3-3 and like, or is there like,
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, correct. What's the composition here then? I thought between the two of them here.
Through the chair to mayor and council, there's no committee.
Right.
The department would be managed by staff and
Oh,
would have the
right.
autonomy
Okay, there is no
to be
committee. Yeah, right,
supervised
okay.
and managed by staff rather than reporting to a committee.
Right. Okay.
so would the what is equivalent, like on joint services, is this how it's, I'm not off the top of my head, I don't know what the composition is, or is it equal?
Through the chair to council wardrop, so essentially what we would be doing is taking the economic development management function out of a committee. And it would be just done like the finance department is or the public works department is, it would be managed by staff as opposed to managed by a committee. So it would be taken out of the committee's portfolio.
Yeah, no, I get that, sorry. I mean, like, is joint services, do they have two and we have two, and then
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I guess, is the composition of the committee equivalent to what it operates now?
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, Councillor Idris. Yeah.
So currently, we have something called joint shared services, and I'm sorry, making it very simple. So currently, you have a joint shared services committee, and Lisa and her team come to that committee to provide updates and get some directions, and they do their work. So the team will still continue doing that for not really reporting purposes, but for update purposes. They will come to that 3-time meetings per year, and they will present their plans. They may have some questions, and that is what in that previous item that we were discussing that we'll be voting on is that plan direction. But in terms of that monthly reporting, updating, and that's not happening. It's just happening in that 3 meetings per, if my understanding of the two is correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so then through the chair to council wardrop, the composition of the Joint Services Committee right now is 3 members from the city, 3 from the county, and 1 from Rosemary, Bazzano, and Dutchess.
Thank you.
Got it.
That's what I was asking.
Councillor Goodenough.
Great explanation. So my question is this then, you're going to now have a little bit of a bigger pot to draw from for economic development. The accountability, and I please hear my heart, there is trust here, I trust you, but the accountability will now be 3 times a year that you'll be presenting where the money's kind of going. Every year or every meeting you would present, or roughly every meeting in joint services, you would present where the money's gone, whether it's been through economic growth, the signs, whatever you're kind of working on, or if there's a special event like the Red Bull and we're going to put money into that. How now do you foresee that direction? Or how are you going to take direction? Because normally you would come to joint services, present an idea, and usually we were, within a month or 2, we're making a decision of when this event was happening. So now you don't need that direction, or I know it's a loaded question there, sorry.
Okay, through the chair to Councillor Goodenough. So right now the way the program works is that staff prepare a budget, which is approved by Joint Shared Services in usually October, November. That budget is approved by Joint Shared Services essentially to give detail back to the city and the county to prepare their operating budget. When we prepare the budget, typically we would have a little bit of pocket of unallocated funds. And within that unallocated funds, if special projects come up through the year, such as a sponsorship opportunity for the Alberta Chamber of Commerce event, or the Rotary International Convention tours, or any other kind of special project, then we would bring that forward to Joint Services for direction, only on that unallocated fund portion of the budget. Sometimes that pocket of money is $5,000. Sometimes it's as high as $15,000, which in a $360,000 budget is quite minimal. Sometimes by the end of the year, we have such a good surplus, we have a little bit more unallocated funds that we can, be creative with. But typically, it's a relatively small portion of the overall budget. Our operations are typically done within the allocated budget and through the approved work plan, which forms part of our strategic plan, which is set every 3 years. So no longer having the Joint Shared Services Committee to approve those unallocated projects, essentially it would just fall back to staff, who I have the signing authority to sign up for any of those projects, essentially, that would come up. Typically, we have enough lead time on them, like things don't surprise us. We very rarely need approval within 3 weeks. That if it were something big enough or that we really wanted input and guidance on, then we would just take it or hold on to it and take it before the International Affairs Committee. Not international, intermunicipal. We wouldn't take it to the UN. Intermunicipal Affairs Committee. Yeah, so it does give staff a little bit more autonomy. Now we would be able to approve things immediately and move forward with it. On some of the bigger ones, yes, we may have to wait for one of those quarterly meetings, but for the most part, it will allow us actually to respond quicker to those things where those unallocated funds might be needed.
Not
Thank
to
you for
drill,
clarification.
sorry, not to drill down into the department there, but where would health services and doctor recruitment, would that fall under this category here? Or would that be separate altogether?
Through the mayor through the chair to mayor and council. Originally, doctor recruitment or doctor retention and attraction has always been handled by Joint Shared Services, but it's very rare in municipalities that it would be handled by economic development. It's typically more of a citizen-led thing, with a specially formed committee with representations from the healthcare industry, other small businesses, and just kind of like-minded volunteers and individuals. We have held a roundtable event in the spring, and there is a desire from the community to try to form that style of A&R committee. And as such, doctor attraction and retention has not been added to either of these terms of references right now. The thoughts from the CAOs and staff was that it would be held completely separately in conjunction with RPAP and their efforts. There are some parallels between economic development's workforce attraction, workforce development portfolio, but for the most part, it's a little bit more of an arm's length kind of committee beyond Joint Services.
Okay, good, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Woodruff.
I'm curious, just to get an idea, what is 2% of Brooks and then the counties? LGFF.
If I got the question right, that's correct. All 5 municipalities will contribute 2% of their LGFF.
Yeah, I think she was asking if you have an actual concrete number there, yeah.
I'll look to our Director of Corporate Services for that.
Thank you for the question. So through the chair to Councillor Warder, about 36,000, I believe.
From the city of Brooks?
I believe so, yeah.
36,000.
Yeah.
And what is the county's 2%?
Oh, that
Just
I
curious.
wouldn't know. Yeah, sorry.
Through you, Mr. Chair, through the Mayor to Councillor Woodruff, the county's contribution is just a little bit less than the municipalities. The 3 smaller municipalities will contribute approximately $2,000 each.
Okay, any other questions? Councillor Idris?
So previously, we used to do the 180 between
Yep.
the city. Okay. So, and now when I read this agreement, when it sounds like the base will be the LGFF, and then it's not, because like when I read it says here, point 11, it will say to a maximum of that 180 per year, the city may invoice the county quarterly. So is it now based on expenditures? And then, because in the past, for example, there were years where we invoiced the 180 and then we didn't finish that 180 and then it went, but with this now, are we just going to invoice based on expenditures after that LGFF?
Through the chair to Councillor Idris, typically what we do is the city and the county agree to fund up to $180,000 each year. If at the end of the year we've only spent a maximum of $330,000, then we just essentially divide it in half and invoice the county for the other half. So the agreement it always says $180,000, but that's just like our maximum that we would go up to. We typically run a favorable surplus. If there are specific large projects that we hadn't completed in a year and we knew we wanted to carry that earmarked budget forward into the next calendar year, then we would carry over funds. But typically we don't just carry over any surplus that we've accumulated. So I think that the intention behind point number 11 is that the work plan and the budget will spend the regional money first, and then anything over and above that, we'll start to draw from that up to $360,000 from the city and county.
Thank you.
So, and just a clarification, so we'll do 180,000 plus our 36,000.
Correct.
Right, yeah. And then the other municipalities, Dutchess, Rosemary, and Bizano would do around 2,000 or less than that, eh? So, yeah, so that would give you a budget of about 420, about 426, I think.
Up to.
Up to, yeah, okay. Okay, any other questions on this? Okay, to the most, are you good? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, to the motion, all those in favor? Carried, okay. Moved by Councillor Wardrop that the meeting adjourn at 4:42 PM. All those in favor? Carried.